we are going to discuss a topic called as virtual memory. So now you know guys that RAM is finite on most of the system, that maybe 4 GB is there or 8 GB is there. So this RAM is finite. Now what happens is that, so suppose if a programmer wants to write a very large program, so he or she will require a lot of memory. Now if you just limit it to physical memory, that is our RAM, so it means that one cannot write the larger program. So virtual memory is a kind of an illusion. So it gives an illusion to the user that you have a lot of memory. And then what happens is that any programmer can write large programs. So what happens when the RAM is finite? See, what happens is that suppose if you are having 4 GB RAM, so sometimes or many times what happens is that your entire program is not needed in main memory at the time. And it may also be there that even though entire program is needed, that all the modules of that program is not needed in the same time. So what happens is that these techniques makes programming of large application easier, and we can use the real physical memory more efficient. So what happens in virtual memory is that if you have a 4 GB RAM, so it may give the illusion to the end user that there is 16 GB of memory available. So how will you define virtual memory? So it separates user logical memory from actual physical memory. So actual physical memory may be 4 GB, but the system may give the illusion that there is 16 GB memory in this system. Now next, what happens due to this separation is that a very large virtual memory is available to the programmers, although maybe the actual memory is of small size. And due to this, what happens is that operating system hand out more memory than what exists on the system. Like I have told you on this particular example, like physically there may be 4 GB of RAM, but what happens due to virtual memory is that end user will get the 16 GB of virtual memory. And due to which what happens is that the programmer will write programs which are very, very larger than the physical memory. So this frees the programmer to write programs of very large size, because eventually what happens is that operating system makes provision for the more memory. Now what actually it does is that it will keep only recently used stuff in the physical memory. Whichever stuff is required, right? So that is kept in the physical memory, right? And whichever is not required, so it will keep recently used stuff in physical memory, because it may be required at any time in the RAM, isn't it? And whatever is not required, means whatever is least recently used, it will move it to the disk. So this illusion of 16 GB, from where it is going to get this space? It is going to get this space from the hard disk. Now, this virtual memory is very, very helpful in multi-program system. So, in a short way, how you will define the virtual memory? So, virtual memory separates user logical memory from the actual physical memory. And due to this separation, the programmers can write very large application programs even if the physical memory is of small size. And due to the virtual memory, operating system hand out more memory than what exists on the system. So let us see how actually it is implemented with the diagram. So see here, this is our hard disk, okay, and this is our physical memory. And here, this is our virtual memory. So this virtual memory is actually kept on the hard disk, and what happens is that on this virtual memory, there will be the logical address. This logical address will be generated by the CPU and will be known as the virtual address. But you cannot put directly into the RAM like that. So first there will be some memory map. Okay, some table will be there. So how it will conduct it? It will convert this virtual address into physical address. So each of this RAM will have the physical memory. So what happens in virtual memory is that, see here, virtual memory will separate this logical memory from this physical memory. And this virtual memory will be kept on the hard disk. And this virtual address will have to be translated to physical memory so that the contents of whatever we put in the virtual memory will be continuously put into the physical memory, or it could be removed. And here in this particular section, you can observe that here I have written page 0, page 1, page 2 like this. So what actually happens is that in virtual memory, we divide it into blocks, and this block is nothing but the pages. So virtual memory, it is just an illusion given to the end user that there is more memory in the system, while there may be very limited physical memory. And due to this separation, what happens is that programmer can write very large programs.